Brian Johnson's also the lead singer of AC/DC, so I'm wondering if you're actually going into Stoicism or if you're just going to read some AC/DC lyrics.
No, I tried to play TNT the other day on our telenews webinar.
Hey, Craig, let's get into some coffee talk.
Hey, I love it. I love doing some coffee talk.
Well, talk about what?
Dogs, daughters, whatever. It's coffee talk.
Coffee talk.
Hey, Mr. Jason, how you doing?
Mr. Craig.
You know what I love about talking to you and getting on here is you're always so positive.
Okay. Where's this going?
What? I follow guys named Brian. No but. There's no but there.
Oh, okay.
Not even a semicolon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No
Can
colon, no but.
Can you say semicolon on the... So I follow this guy. His name Brian Johnson. He's somebody that practices Stoicism. We've talked about that. That comes from the ancients. Your Socrates, Aristotle, some of those guys. Some good stuff there.
Yeah, BJ.
But
Brian Johnson, BJ.
Brian Johnson.
By the way,
that's right.
Brian Johnson's also the lead singer of AC/DC, so I'm wondering if you're actually going into Stoicism or if you're just going to read some AC/DC lyrics.
No, I tried to play TNT the other day on our telenews webinar. So I get an email every day, and there's always a really cool stuff. Like it's the 1 minute plus or plus one. And, it's in there filtered with all the other millions of emails. So I get to them sometimes. And this one caught my eye. It was real interesting, talking about positivity. So there's an extremely high correlation between being positive and long life. Now, this is, I think, where it's very interesting, right? Because we can probably all agree that we want to live a long time.
Maybe.
I mean, I'm shooting for 10,000. What are you shooting for?
Oh, man, I'm tired. I'm shooting for a nap. If it's in this form of death, then I'll take it.
Right.
I'm joking. Okay, keep going.
So they did this study on, I guess it's one of the most famous studies or experiments in positive psychology. And the study followed nuns, because nuns are the epitome of healthy living, right? They have controlled lifestyles. Right. So they made the perfect research candidate. So it was this big study, University of Kentucky. And they looked at the statements of these nuns, meaning like they came in at the age of 22, and then by the age of 85, 97% of those nuns, so this is a very long-term study, 97% were still alive.
Ooh.
Of the ones that had these entries, that they followed all the entries that had the most positive wording and emotional content, they were still alive, versus only 52% were still alive of the ones who had more negative wording in all of their responses. And this is following them from age 22 to old, right? Up to my age.
Right.
So it's pretty fascinating, right? That's some pretty good evidence that being positive, having this positive mental attitude, can impact not only everyone around you, but it's going to impact your life. And we're in this business where it's and I guess anywhere in business and anywhere in life, you can be around the positive people, you can be around the negative people. And we know how that frames your mind by who you hang out with, right? The flock with which you fly. Well, I don't know what the saying is, something like that, right? The feathers of the flock will fly together or something.
Fly together.
Yeah. So it is interesting. It's interesting.
It is interesting. Now, out of all the nuns, did none of them have a bad attitude?
No, some of them did. And those were the ones who didn't live as long. But almost none of them who had a positive attitude had died by age 85.
Wow.
So another one, they did this analysis of autobiographies of 96 famous psychologists, and they found that those who used the positive emotive wording lived on average 6 years longer than those who used more negative emotive words. So another study to back up that, so you have this empirical data that's telling you, hey, keep that positive attitude, and you're going to live longer. Now, it's very easy to get, especially as business owners or insurance agents in particular, because if you're answering the phone, sometimes the clients aren't the kindest, right? And it's hard to take that and then stay positive. And so,
Right.
But I think becoming aware of those things, and we talk a lot about awareness in many episodes of this, but it's really, really good. And I hope that somebody listening to this is going to become more aware of their mental state and how they're responding to things, because it really, at the end of the day, affects the health. And then as the leader, right, the visionary in the organization, your positivity is infectious to those around you. So you could say that you are in control of how long the people that are around you are going to live, because the impact that you have, whether you help them become more positive or you take them down that negative road, is going to have an effect. What do you think about that, Mr. Jason?
I like that. It reminds me of that thing at the event that we just saw. Oh, you weren't there. The good old Tony Robbins, TR, was there.
Yeah, I left early.
And he was talking about there's always, for every positive, there's always a negative in almost every situation. Yeah. And so there's always both sides. So it's really where you decide to look. And you see it too. I mean, you see most like successful people only focus on the positive things. If there's a negative thing, it's almost that, okay, if something, well, I guess it's how you label it, right? Because a negative, like it would be a speed bump to them.
Yep.
It's just a speed bump, whatever. There's got to be a solution to solve whatever, right? And it's not necessarily like a negative thing. It's just the road to doing whatever you're doing. But they always focus on the positive stuff. And I think that's super important.
Yeah. There's an author. Have you ever heard of Eckhart Tolle?
Yes.
He does kind of awareness stuff, and he's sort of out on the not on the Fokker side of the family. The Fokker side of the family, not the De Niro side, right? So he's more like Barbara Streisand and Dustin Hoffman. So I totally lost my. So Eckhart Tolle, not only does he create very uncomfortable, if you ever watch him, you could watch him on YouTube, and he'll talk in front of people, and he will stand up on stage and have this enormously long silences in between what he's saying. And it's so uncomfortable. I don't know how he does it, but
I love that.
But yeah, he talks a lot about the power of being positive. And then you just brought up labels. Like, he's a firm believer that we constantly have to judge, right? Like what you just said, is this thing good or is this thing bad? It's really, at the end of the day, it's neither, right? It just is. It's
right.
This
you
thing.
Label it as one of the
right.
two.
We have to label it. Like, we're humans. We have to categorize everything. But what if we didn't? What if we just said, okay, that's what it is right now. I'm going to figure out a way to learn from it. It could be that it's not even good and it's not even bad. It just is the thing that is, right? If you're doing that whole present moment thing, because you could argue there is no past and there's no future. The only thing that really matters is right now, this moment, right? And what you do in this moment. And if you work on that, then I think that cultivates that positivity.
Right. You definitely cannot dwell on the past.
No. And it's easy to do.
And you can't dwell too much in the future. I mean, you can have the future help guide your today, but you definitely need your today to be optimum. That's the only way your tomorrow's going to be better.
Right.
And it's the consistency of that.
Sure. And the past, the only thing the past I think is good for is reference, right? It's reference points and lessons that came of that, but you're carrying those lessons forward and they exist today. Doesn't matter. Like, you screwed up. Okay, big deal. It's over. That's done. Sometimes that's harder to convince my significant other of, that all that stuff that happened, that's over with. Don't worry about that. That's in the past. Past doesn't exist. That argument doesn't necessarily work all the time. But as humans, as business owners, as people who affect other people that we're around, I think it's really important to be mindful of what we're projecting and the message that we're carrying, because it's very easy to go down that negative road, because this is not easy, right? This is not easy to do. And sometimes we're up on that hamster wheel. If we didn't have a day that we made a lot of sales. Look how I didn't label it as a bad day. We had a day that we didn't have a lot of sales, which we normally don't tend to like. Then maybe we bring that into the next day and we're like, listen, guys, if we don't, blah, 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 right? Or it's like, okay, that's done with. All right, let's focus on today. Let's focus on getting to the results, back to the fundies, back to all of the things that we need to do that we know get the results.
The fundies are the fundamentals. When you first said fundies, I was like, what is he talking about? Not this.
They're fun underwear. They're not fun underwear. Yeah. It's the fundamentals. Do they have fundies? Okay, is there a thing called fundies? No, underoos.
There is now. I just bought it.
Oh, good. Fundies.com? Nice. Did you ever have underoos? I did not.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Was it just underwear with like superheroes on it, basically? And then they labeled it as, or I guess they branded it as underoos, its own genre. Yeah. Now that this is digressed and is entirely unhelpful.
Now, just so
I labeled it as unhelpful.
Sum it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you label you. Anyways, I would.
You're labeling me as a labeler.
Is pull back from the situation. This is a good one to do. Like, pull out of your situation, whatever you're going through right now, and just think about it. Like, how did I carry myself earlier? Is that me? Or is that just me portraying this attitude or something like that?
Right.
And is it the true you that you perceive yourself as?
Right.
When you interacted with the last 5 people that you interacted with.
Right.
And I don't think we think about that nearly enough, you know?
Well, yeah, we each individually, we are not the same person we were 10 years ago. Like, physically, we're not. All the cells have changed, right? Every single cell has died.
Clearly.
Right. Sometimes you don't get any more.
Right.
The cranial area. But yeah, 100%. That's what I do when I listen to my thought. Just say 100%.
That's a coffee talk.
That's a coffee talk. Thanks for listening. Don't forget, Mr. Jason, to tell them what they can do.
Yeah, you got to subscribe.
Subscribe.
If you don't subscribe, we're going to go away. And if you want us to go away, then you should subscribe and we will go away. So either whatever you want, just subscribe and you'll get it. Yep. You'll get whatever you want if you subscribe.
If you like the past,
Magic Genie.
You get the past by subscribing. If you don't, if you want to be present and have full awareness, subscribe. If you want more cowbell,
I gotta have more cowbell.
Subscribe. Either way, that's a coffee talk. Oh, Blue Monster.
Hey, Jason.
Yes, Mr. Craig.
That was another awesome episode, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if people want to get a little bit more action and learn how to write 100,000 in premium off of even the worst internet leads, where could they go?
They can go to live.teledudes.com.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. Are we going to be there?
Yes. It's a weekly call that we're doing right now it's live and it will show you the process. The entire process is super awesome.
I love it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sign up right now. Live.teledudes.com.
Live.teledudes.com. That's live.teledudes.com.
Hey, Craig, there's a new community that we are starting that I cannot wait to tell everybody about. It is our live texting community where you and I are going to answer people's questions and give them free content, right?
Are you kidding me? We get to talk to them?
Yeah, which is awesome, but they have to opt in. They have to text us at 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
Nice.
Craig, are you going to respond to these texts?
I'm going to respond to them for sure. Live.
I'm into it too. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to be our new texting community where we're going to get back to everybody that we can and drop some crazy content, free content, and free the calculator that you just came up with. That's right. The calling calculator, sales material. I mean, everything for insurance agents. This is it. It's the best texting community out there for insurance agents.
Well, what the heck is that number again? I can't remember it.
It's 520-214-2219. That's 520-214-2219.
I love it. I'm going to text it right now.
520-214-2219.
All right. I'll see you later, Mr. Jason.
Bye, Mr. Craig.
Wait, do they even listen to this on the radio anymore?
I love it. I love it.
Nice.
All right.